Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Arun back with your NFL Sunday Week 8 picks. We got 11 games for you, I believe, if I count right, that is. So we're going to have all your picks. Of course, if you haven't done so, we got a couple things to take care of. First of all, like and subscribe. Put in the comments what you like. As always, tell us what you think of what we're doing. But we've got a couple specials for you. We do listen to what you guys ask for. You asked that you want to be able to get both of our plays for one price. So we went to the boss and said, hey, how about we get for $99, they get the same thing you're paying for just one of us. They get both. So you get all of our football plays for 1 week, 7 days, 2-for-1 football pass. Use this link. The only way you'll find it, you can't just go looking for it at the website. You have to use this link. It's also, link will be in the description, docsports.com/Craig Arun. Also, don't forget, get in our premium YouTube channel here. If you go to the level, we have level 1, 2, and 3. If you get in on level 3, we're going to have some exclusive content, parlays, props, extra stuff. All the stuff that we've always done, we'll continue to do. This is just going to be an addition. Me and IC doing some extra premium content for you, level 3 members only. So make sure you join in. Okay, let's get right to it. We know what you're here for. You're here for the NFL picks. I see we have 11 games. Let's kick it off. 49ers have been very impressive. That's the last game. They're playing the Texans coming off a loss on Monday Night Football. Texans I'm so shocked. A 1-point favorite, total 41. What do you think happens in this one?
Well, I mean, the Texans did, they're desperate, right? They're 2-4. It's a team that comes off of a loss to Seattle. And I thought their offense somewhat picked up near the end. But the problem with Houston is they can't run the ball. They only ran for 56 yards. I thought they would play better, and they just did not. And it does seem like a little bit of a surprise. But, of course, San Fran comes off that big win against Atlanta, against my Falcons, and then they had lost to Tampa Bay prior to that. But they're sitting at 5-2. I know Houston is a -1 favorite here. Both these teams are very similar teams in that they are both defensive strongholds, or they focus on the defensive side of the ball quite a bit. So in a sort of a drag out fight, is it possible, especially is it possible for these Texans to win that kind of ugly game like the Titans game, for example? These two teams haven't met since 2022. I will tell you the total sits at 41 here. And, I do like the under here, but so does the public, which makes me not like that either. So this is a tough game, but I might just hold my nose here, and I might just take the Texans because I don't fully trust Mac Jones on the road, right? This is Mac at the end of the day that, he threw for 347 and 2 interceptions, and they still managed, and they lost to Tampa Bay by 11. It's a game that they beat the Falcons indeed, but Jones only threw for 152 yards, Craig, and he didn't throw for a touchdown, and he had an interception as well. If it wasn't for the fact that San Francisco rushed for 174 yards, they don't win that game. Right. So then you have, guess who is decent at stopping the run? The Texans, right? They're phenomenal at stopping the run. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to load up that box. They're going to try to make Mac Jones beat him, and he won't be able to beat him. And they come off a primetime loss. So it kind of makes sense to me that Houston -1 or the money line makes sense. I'm going to back Houston here, Craig. All right, Craig, Buffalo here, 7.5-point chalk on the road against Carolina. Bear in mind that the Buffalo coach has history over in Carolina, right? So he's got some history. He's back to his old stomping grounds a little bit. These two teams haven't met since 2021. Buffalo comes off of back-to-back losses now. They're 4-2. Guess who also has four wins? The Carolina Panthers. What do you think here, Craig? Do you think they can hang tough, or is this kind of where the road meets the metal kind of thing, and they get walloped?
I think what the Panthers are doing is repeatable, if you know what I mean. It's not like they're doing something fluky to win games. They're running the ball. When you run the ball, it's the great equalizer in NFL. Being able to run the ball and control the clock. Then the quarterback that might struggle, all of a sudden has got wide open receivers on one-on-one because you got to fill the box. I think they do so.
That's what you would say, right, Craig? Like the advantages of running the ball, like for people that are sort of like just watching the game for fun, but from a betting perspective, when you run the ball, what are all the advantages that a team gets to have when someone gets to run the ball? Like you mentioned one, which is clock control, right? And then you mentioned, what are the other things? Like, why is it so important?
Well, there's a lot less turnovers. Let's be honest. When you don't turn the ball over as much running the ball as you do putting it through the air, especially with Young. I just think like he's still susceptible to throw some bad interceptions. I think the Bills have not stopped the run too. Atlanta, did they? I mean, Bijan tore them apart. Let's remember what they did week 1 against Baltimore, even though they did win that game, I mean, should be probably have 3 losses, to be very honest. This team, they did have a bye, so I do think you're going to get their best effort here. Do they win? Maybe. Are they going to win 7.5? You're going to win by more than a touchdown? I don't believe it. I think this Buffalo team, like the what do they call the polish is off? Is off a little bit. I think so. I think this is a Buffalo team that still can do great things this year. I just think they have some issues that I don't think are going to get necessarily fixed till the offseason. And for that reason, I'm going to take the 7.5 here, even with the Bills having the rest advantage. Next game, Giants did what the Giants did. Unbelievable game and find a way. Missed 2 extra points, cost them at least overtime. Giants at the Eagles here. Eagles minus 7.5, total 44. What do you like here?
Well, the Giants, it's just what a brutal loss. Just a brutal loss. And I think that might hang over them a little bit here. Maybe the Eagles sort of figured it out. Obviously, they had a player retire, right? And he was upset with something, and it hasn't come out yet why he was so upset. But he, this is a team that sort of found their footing recently. I'd have to think that you're going to see a situation here where, and this is a divisional game, and I'll give the Eagles this credit, man, about the divisional games. They have continued to step up in divisional games. They've continued to cover divisional games too. So when you give that into effect, I think that's pretty darn good. But I got to be honest with you. I just don't know how this team is going to step up here coming off that loss, meaning the Giants. They could be entirely hungover here. Yeah, what a brutal loss, Craig, for for these Giants, right? They ended up losing to the Broncos 33-32, but they just beat the Eagles, right? They beat them 34-17. I can't imagine the Eagles overlooking them now. And to be honest with you, these Giants are 2-5, yes, but there is light for these Giants, right? They should have basically a historic comeback. I can't even imagine getting outscored 33-13 in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's just brutal. It just goes to show how much a team can come back. When you sort of look at the box score here for these Giants, right? You have Dart here, who threw for 3 touchdowns, 283. And one thing is for sure, Craig, he is the future. It's not Russell Wilson, right? Obviously, changing to Dart made a massive difference, and they were able to rush for 119. They have Scatterby, who once again averaged almost 4 yards a carry, which is great. You have Robinson and Bellinger and Theo Johnson here, who all had over 60 yards receiving. But then you might wonder, how will these Eagles respond to getting beat last time around? And I think they're going to be on a much better footing here. I think the vibe of the Eagles, especially with the player leaving and all of that stuff, right? I think the vibe is going to be much better here. That win against the Vikings was not an easy win. And yes, they lost to the Broncos by 4. Yes, they lost to the Giants. But this is a team that still, at the end of the day, beat the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Rams, and Buccaneers, which is a pretty hard schedule. And I think they get their revenge, Craig. And I'm going to back these Philadelphia Eagles minus a 7.5. And I think that the Giants are going to be a little bit hungover from that tough loss. Browns, Patriots. The Patriots come in as a 7.5 point chalk to these Browns. Patriots sitting at 5-2, and give them credit. It was a weird line recently against the Saints and the Titans, but they were able to pull through. They have won 4 in a row coming in, beating the Panthers, the Bills, the Saints, the Titans. All of a sudden, Craig, these Patriots are now 5-2. The Browns, of course, rolling into this game. I mean, they're sort of all over the place, man. I can't imagine them getting any sort of rhythm at this point. They did, of course, beat the Dolphins. They they had Gabriel, but can they actually do something on the road? And that's because the only team that might be more dysfunctional than the Browns are the Dolphins right now, right? So can this team, they lost to the Steelers, they lost to the Vikings and Lions, but do you think they can do something here? Do you think they can put something together against these Patriots? What do you think?
The line's begging you to take them. You're 7.5. They're saying, please, public, please give me some of your money and take the Browns minus 7.5. Do not be fooled. On the road, this Browns team is just not good. They're 0-3 straight up. They're 0-3 against the spread. You let Flacco go. He goes and beats the Steelers with the Bengals. I mean, it's just like, the whole Shador Sanders, is he going to be the backup? It's like, dude, of course he's going to be the backup. Why couldn't the coach just come out and say that? I think it's big problems, and it's just the opposite in New England. New England they're rolling. Like, they went in and took care of, got revenge for Vrabel at Tennessee. I think they keep it going here. I thought that would be a little letdown spot last week. It did not happen. I think they win again and cover the spread here. Let's take the minus 7.5. Now, next game, Chicago Bears at the Ravens. I can't believe this is still 7. It sounds like Lamar is going to be out again this week. At least he's been out early in the week of practice, and it sounds like he's not going to play. Ravens minus 7, total 49.5. This is one that you definitely want to wait till game time if you're going to bet the Ravens, FYI, because you got to know the status of Lamar for sure. What do you like?
Well, I'm going to assume that Lamar is out. Okay. But we're not sure, right? I mean, the spread that you see is 6.5, correct?
7, 6.5, 7. I see
7, 6.5. So, but then again, I don't know. I mean, in some reports I've read that he's out, but in some I've read that he's coming back, right? So that's the reason why this line is the way it is. You have a Bears team, of course, that comes in off of 4 straight wins, beating the Saints, beating the Commanders, beating the Raiders, beating the Cowboys. These are all big wins for them, right? And then when you take a look at that Saints game, you have to give them enough credit to the fact that they were able to, as Rattler had, by the way, my 8-unit future on the Saints under 4.5 wins still looks excellent. And you have the Saints here who had, Rattler had 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions against these Bears. You have Caleb here who threw for 172, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but they were still able to win that game. I just don't have any faith in him at all on the road. You have a Ravens team here that looks like they haven't, thrown in the towels, right? They're 1-5. They're hoping to make a run here. They're coming off a loss to the Rams, Texans, Chiefs, and so on. But look, if there's a game that this team will get up to face, it'll probably be these Bears who come in. The Bears have won 4 in a row, and yet they find themselves as a dog. It just sucks for the Bears head coaching staff because if they had even a quarterback that was a little bit better, man, like, could you imagine how good these Bears can be with maybe like someone like a Sam Darnold, for example, right? Someone who just kind of knows how the offense works and knows, or even a Dak Prescott. But instead they have Caleb Williams. But yeah, I mean, I got to take the Ravens here. Maybe they right the ship. Maybe they can put together 4 straight wins. Maybe they can get back to 500, and then we'll be talking about something else, So I'm going to back. I'm going to back these Ravens here to kind of bounce back. All right, Jets, Bengals. Okay, because you and I are both working on 2 different websites here, and it's going in and out. But yeah, okay, so the Jets and the Bengals here hook up here. All right, so you have a Jets team that is 0-7, Craig. Looks like, but they're not even in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. We don't know who they're going to get, but it's not going to be Justin Fields. He's not the answer. That's obvious. Bengals team that comes off a nice win against Steelers. Maybe Flacco is the answer for them, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you, he just has to hold them tight until old boy comes back, right? Until Burrow comes back. But who do you like here?
I'm guessing they're going to Tyrod Taylor, because I don't think you pull him out mid-game, Justin Fields, that is, when he was struggling, and then go give it to Tyrod and then say, okay, it's your team again. I just can't see that. So we're going to go with that assumption, but I would wait until game time because there's no way I'm putting my money on Justin Fields, even against that Bengals bad defense. If it's Tyrod Taylor, you take the Taylor. And the Jets, I think they can win this game, but I do think they cover. It's my Bengals, and trust me, you know what? I've made a lot of money on betting on the Bengals, the opposite team, the over team total on whoever the Bengals are playing. So add that to the card as well, and take the Jets as long as Tyrod Taylor's starting under center. All right, next game we're looking at here, the terrible Dolphins, 1-6, Falcons 3-3. Falcons favored by 7.5, total of 45. I still can't believe McDaniels is on the sideline. What do you like here?
I think it's more of just, let's just let this thing continue on, and then they're going to actually do a proper search, right? Like, what are they going to do here firing him at this point? Maybe just let everybody knows that they're going to fire him. So it's not like you're opening up a job search. Everybody knows that this job is going to.
It just sends a message to your team that we're like, we're not giving up on you. We're, like, to me, and the fans, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're going to do is they're going to make a strong play for, like the Giants, right? They just hired the college baseball coach over at Tennessee, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So you can make, this is Miami, for God's sakes. Miami's a beautiful place. It's a wonderful place. And I think they can go out there and they can find themselves a heck of a coach. So he's definitely a dead man walking. Atlanta comes in off of such a disappointing loss, man. But Tua does come back to sort of his old stomping grounds here, to my Falcons area. And I expect him to maybe play a little bit better. He obviously went to Alabama. But this is a team that just got throttled by the Browns, had a tight game against the Chargers and Panthers, Jets. They've been playing really tough, tight game against the Patriots. The only 2 games they got blown out was against the Browns and the Colts. Maybe they bounce back to some respect, but I can tell you the Atlanta Falcons fan base is really upset. They're very upset with that loss to the 49ers. I mean, obviously coming off that Bills-Commanders win, but they're tired of 7 straight losing seasons, Craig. And you have a team here that just continues to be 500 and 500 and 500, and a game against it's tough in the league, and I get it, but they have to play better, right? I do think the Falcons probably bounce back here. I do expect the Dolphins to at least put up some more points. Atlanta only put up 10 points in their last game, so I do like the over between these 2 teams. I think they both get after pretty much on the offensive side. I will tell you this, the Falcons fan base is not happy with the fact they got ran over for 170 yards. They got ran over. But I do expect their rushing defense to be a lot better, but I do expect Tua to throw the ball a lot more. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this game go over the posted total. All right, so you have a Saints team here. Look, this is a divisional game. You have a Bucs team that, of course, did not do well on prime time, which is great for me because I had a 6-star on the Lions. I'm happy to see that. The Bucs are on the road here, but only a 4.5-point chalk. What do you like here, Craig?
This is a tough game. Bucs are completely just like Bucky Irving's just missed a few games. Mike Evans, he's going to be out for probably rest of the year, if not with a collarbone. Godwin has missed a bunch of games. It's just the walking wounded. The defense is really banged up. It's asking a lot to cover. I think they win by a field goal. I just think it's that type of game. And you take the 4.5 or the Saints. The Saints have been better than I thought they would be. Now, it doesn't show in the win-loss record because, it's what you do when you don't have talent up and down your roster. It's like you can't finish games. And that's what they're doing. They're staying close. And then when they need to make a play, they don't. I think this is the game they can maybe do that. They're just 1-6 straight up. This is the game that I could see them covering for sure, but maybe even, pulling off the win. Give me the Saints plus 4.5. I just think this is a really tough spot in a short week for a Bucs team that's extremely injured.
How's it? Sign up for our free $60 of the premium selections, which is docsports.com/ICCT. You get free $60 of the premium selection so you can try us out. It's the best way to kind of thank us for all the hard work that we do, along with liking and subscribing and joining on YouTube Premium.
All right, next game we're looking at the Cowboys and the Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 3.5. What a comeback win. Total 49.5. Maybe they'll choose to play all 4 quarters this time. I don't know. What do you think?
And maybe they were just looking ahead to this game, to be honest with you. The Cowboys, I got to be honest with you, Craig, the Cowboys have impressed me in the sense that they've played hard. And they haven't quit on the year. Dak went for 264 and 3 touchdowns. They put up 44 points. They're not that far. That loss to the Panthers is a good loss now. And that tie against the Packers, pretty decent tie. That loss to the Bears, that was a game that the Bears had to win, or else that coach was getting a lot of heat. And they lost the Eagles. They've been competitive every single game. My only problem is Denver comes off such a bad game where they didn't play well in the first half. That's going to motivate them. That's my only worry coming into this game. The Broncos, of course, come into this game. They're perfect at home, by the way, and they just beat the Giants, the Jets, the Eagles, the Bengals. They've certainly turned it around. But I think what probably happens here is that you're going to see a situation where I think the Broncos defense I don't see the Cowboys having as much success on the offensive side of the ball as they did before, even though this crazy total sits at 50.5. You can also see the Cowboys being a pretty active dog and see that game going over. But having said all this, I just can't imagine the Broncos playing worse than they did. That's going to wake you up. And I think, the Cowboys are in a classic spot here. I can easily see them having a letdown after scoring 44 points in the last game. They lack consistency. We've seen it over and over again. So I'm going to back these Broncos here to win here. But I have them winning by 4 or 5. I think it's going to be a lot closer than we realize. Titans and the Colts. Titans coming in at 1-6, and the Colts coming in at the inverse of 6-1. Colts are perfect 4-0 at home this year on a total of 47.5. Colts come in as a 14.5-point chalk. What do you like, Craig?
Anytime you're a handicapper and you look at the NFL and you see more than 2 touchdowns, you're trying to make the argument for the underdog. That's just handicapping 101 because NFL isn't made in blowouts. You see them, but even bad teams have professionals on them. We see it in the NBA. You see these big lines and it's like all of a sudden ends up close games. You have to give at least the Titans a chance if you're playing the side. I just can't lay that with a Titans team that, let's be honest, they got gifted the 1 win. They did not deserve that win. They got that. I think you play the total here. This Colts offense is the number 1 scoring offense in the league. They run the ball better than anybody consistently in the league. And then play action pass. And Daniel Jones has avoided the turnovers. He's used his legs when needed. The defense has gotten them turnovers, got him the ball back. It's just been a well-rounded team. I don't see that changing. I think they put up 40 on their own. I do think the Titans will throw in a couple touchdowns late to keep it close or to make it look a little closer at the end, which gets us the over. Take the over 47 in this matchup. I think the Colts might even get it on their own. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports. Last game and then we'll have Monday Night Football as a separate video. Green Bay and the Steelers here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is an underdog, which I was a little surprised. I thought it might be a pick'em game. Green Bay -3, total 45. What do you like here?
Well, you have a 4-1 team facing a 4-2 team here, and the Packers did win against Arizona. They beat the Bengals. They beat Dallas. All pretty decent wins considering the Bengals did have Flacco play that game. And then, you have Pittsburgh did beat them last time out too, and back in 2023. So you have a coach that definitely wants to win this game. I just don't like the fact that Pittsburgh comes off of a loss to Bengals, so that's why it's not going to be on my card. They come off that 31-33 loss against the Bengals and Flacco. They had beaten the Patriots. I got to tell you that Pittsburgh win against the Patriots looks pretty darn good now, and beating Minnesota, beating Cleveland. You have a Steelers team that gave up 33 points in their last game, so I think that's going to motivate them. If you look closer, you'll notice that the Bengals threw for 328 on them. That's not good. Aaron Rodgers threw for 249, but also 2 picks, but 4 touchdowns. I think Flacco threw for 342 on them. That's pretty dynamite. And then you have a Packers. And the total sets at 45 as well. I think this game probably goes under. If I had to pick a side, it would definitely be on the Packers. I trust the Packers a little bit more here than I do the Steelers. Because look, the Steelers beat Cleveland, okay, Minnesota, okay, with Wentz. And yeah, the Patriots win looks good, but the Patriots aren't as good then as they are now. And they barely beat the Jets. I don't trust these Steelers. I like the Packs win against Arizona, who was desperate coming in. I like the Packs win against the Bengals. I'm going to back the Packers here, and if you're looking for a total, I like the under here.
All right, so those are the 11 plays for Sunday. Don't forget, you can get in on all of our plays, both Indian, Cowboy, and my plays, 2 cappers for the price of 1. So you go over here, docsports.com/Craig Arun. You'll get all of our football plays. So I'm going to have 7, 8, or 9 plays. That's what I have every week, plus 2 top plays. IC has 1 top play included in his 6-pack. So you get a total of about 15, 16 plays, 3 top plays from the 2 of us. So make sure you go over there and get in on it. If you're watching this on Sunday, you get in on Sunday, you get Sunday's plays and next week plays as well. So that way you don't miss out. You get a full week of plays. So just a little bonus. All right, guys, have a great day. Oh, don't forget about the premium level. Get in on level 3. The link is in the description, just $49.99, and get in all of our extra plays that we have here at YouTube Premium. Good luck.